For a lot of songwriters, melody writing can seem like a dark and mysterious art. There's a lot of information out there about chords and chord theory, but there's not that much information about melodies and the tools, techniques, methods, principles, and processes that we can use to actually consciously and deliberately write better melodies. But there are absolutely some core principles in great melody writing. And in this video, what I want to do is really share one of those principles with you. I am going to play a song for you in one version, and then I'm going to play it again with this one thing tweaked a little bit. And your job as a songwriter is going to be to hear the difference firstly, because you're going to hear it, to identify what has changed, and then we will talk about that shift, and I will explain to you some of the ways that you can use this very simple but very effective melodic technique to make your own melodies and your own songs even better.
I feel a bad mood growing like a vine. Daily news gets in my head, twisting thoughts in my mind. I don't wanna deal, I don't wanna feel, I just wanna pave over it all.
All right, I am straight away gonna play for you the second version. Listen out for the shift that happens in the melody. Okay, here we go.
I feel a bad mood growing like a vine. Daily news gets in my head, twisting thoughts in my mind. And I don't wanna deal, I don't wanna feel, I just wanna pay over it all.
So the shift is both subtle, but also, I hope you can feel, it is also dramatic at the same time. It is the difference between a melody that feels okay but with something missing to a melody that feels like it has a sense of dynamic flow, a sense of energy, a sense of space, a sense of movement, and a sense of dance. What is the difference? I hope in your mind and body you are feeling that what has changed is what we call phrasing. Let me play for you one more time, just the first line of this little song, and I'll play it the first way and the second way so you can really hear the difference. Here we go. Here's version 1.
I feel a bad mood growing like a vine.
Here's version 2. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I feel a bad mood growing like a vine.
Now, one thing that has not changed is the phrasing of the second line, growing like a vine. But I hope you can feel that the phrasing of the first 2 lines there has shifted. It has changed. Instead of starting every single melodic line on beat 1, I feel, I am deliberately not starting on beat 1. I am deliberately holding back, and I am very consciously launching my melody off a beat that is after beat 1 of the bar, right? So I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, I feel. 2, a bad mood. Now, the next melodic phrase, growing like a vine, absolutely starts on one of those strong beats, but before that, I've shifted the phrasing off. This is one of the key elements in great melody writing, is making sure that the melodies in your song have dynamic contrast in their phrasing. The problem when we start all of our melodies on beat 1 is that beat 1 and all the strong beats in a bar are called strong beats for a reason. They contain a sense of what we can think of as body language of the melody. And that body language is assertive, it is strong. Whereas when we start off the beat or after the downbeat, particularly beat 1 of a 4-beat bar, the melody has a totally different energy to it. And one way that I like to think of it is like air circulating through a house. When we start everything on beat 1, it's like we're closing all the doors. We're not letting any air circulate. But if we move things and shift our melodic phrasing off the downbeat, sometimes on the downbeat, sometimes before the downbeat of a bar, we get this incredible dance in our melody. It makes our melodies really feel like they are moving, like they are telling a story, and like they are conveying an emotion rather than merely telling it how it is. And sometimes melodies, when every line starts on the downbeat, it feels almost like a shopping list, because every line starts to feel like it's starting with the same energy. It starts to feel like a list, essentially. So just moving things that little bit makes a huge difference. In this little next section, a contrasting section, which perhaps in a song form we might think of as a pre-chorus, I'm doing something different to what we've heard before. We've heard melodic phrases starting after the downbeat. We've heard melodic phrases starting on the downbeat. In this contrasting section, I'm actually starting the melodic phrases before the downbeat. It's actually the word at the end of the phrase. I don't want to deal. I don't want to feel. Those are the words that are actually landing on the strong beats of this bar. So let's hear that again. I'll go from slightly before it so you can hear it come in. You can hear that the phrasing is actually anticipating beat 1 of the next bar. Here we go.
Daily news gets in my head, twisting thoughts in my mind, and I don't wanna deal, I don't wanna feel, just wanna pave over it all.
So in this particular song snippet, within a verse and a pre-chorus, I've really managed to mix up a variety of phrasing, and I'm really giving this melody a chance to shine, a chance to breathe, a chance to dance, and a chance to express emotion by letting some air circulate through the melody. So let's talk about 2 simple ways that you can use this concept in your own songwriting. The first way you can use it is very much the way that I've just demonstrated to you. You can think about this concept in terms of a section. You can look at the lines of melodic phrases inside one section and create some variety and contrast in the phrasing within that section. That's one way to approach it. So if you've started writing a section in your song and you're not consciously thinking about any of this, which is totally fine and highly advisable actually, if you're just making intuitive musical decisions, it's at that point where you can actually bring in a little bit of this conscious decision making. So let's say I've written a verse section and I get to the end of it and I'm about to go into a chorus, for example. Well, one conscious thought that I might apply in terms of melodic design is just asking myself, what are my melodic phrases doing in my verse section? Are they mostly starting on beat 1, or are they mostly starting after the downbeat, or are they mostly anticipating the downbeat? What's the characteristic of my verse melody phrases? And then ask yourself, what is different to that? And whatever the answer is to that question is a wonderful way to implement a bit of this idea of melodic design to create that dynamic contrast between your sections. This is something we hear in lots of different songs. If you go and listen to the melodic phrasing in the song Firework by Katy Perry, you will hear this principle in play. If you go and listen to the song Circles by Post Malone, you will hear a variety of melodic phrasing creating dynamic movement in that song. And this is not a principle confined to pop music. You will hear this across folk, you will hear this in roots, you will hear this in country, you will hear this in indie. It's not really about genre, it's really about melody. So in any musical genre where melody is really forefront and where you feel like there's something very strong and powerful about the melody, pay attention to this concept of melodic phrasing and really try to employ a sense of melodic design to create that sense of contrast within sections and also contrast between the different sections of your songs, and you will find that your melodies are instantly transformed. Please make sure to check out the free melody writing masterclass that I have put as a link in the show notes, or you can also go ahead and check out the playlist I've created for you on melody writing from our channel. Happy writing, friends. I'll see you next time.